We wanted to put in systems that didn't only meet the things that we wanted for the user experience, but we wanted our operations team to be successful in supporting these, right? So we don't want to have to bring in elevated skill sets to troubleshoot or bring up a room, whether it's programmed, because it has to be reprogrammed for whatever reason. You swap out a device and it has to be reprogrammed, right? We wanted these things to be hot swap. You take a room down for an hour, you change the bar, you get it connected to the network, sign it in, and you're good.
Welcome back to the podcast. A really interesting conversation this week with JT at Toyota Financial Services. Amazing story of moving to Teams, multiple rooms rollouts and the rooms journey, hundreds of rooms and scaling rapidly, how they made their choices in terms of equipment and rollout and partnerships. Really interesting insights into that journey. Also Teams Phone and moving from direct routing to Operator Connect. Many thanks to JT for taking the time jumping on the podcast. And also many thanks to Logitech, who are the sponsor of this podcast. Really appreciate their support of the community and everything we're doing at Empowering Cloud. On with the show. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Teams Insider podcast. You know we like to hear the real customer stories on the podcast, and we've got a great one here. I love the prep call. We almost recorded the entire pod in the prep call, I feel like, JT, because there was so much to talk about. So thanks for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. I can't believe I'm here talking with Tom on the Teams Insider podcast. This is great. I've watched many episodes on my own, and gosh, I followed your work for a long time, Tom. So I know we're going to get to my story here, and spend most of the time on me, which I don't know how comfortable I am with that, but we'll get there. But first, if I could just a moment of appreciation for you. Gosh, I've been following your work trying to think of it last night, 13, 15 years maybe. Going back to the Tom Talks blog, which I know is still out there, but gosh, you've helped me in so many different areas. Going back to, I guess, the link days, link interop days, and trying to learn and find my way through that and do my own research. And I kept coming across these articles, Tom Talks, so they were just hitting right on the money for me.
Oh, I love that.
So
I appreciate that.
I've learned a lot through you, and I know people who probably follow you learn a lot through you. So I can say that I am better at my job because of you. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. I love it. I love it when the heritage goes back that long as well. That's really nice to hear. So well, actually your journey, let's start off with what you and your current role now, and there's an amazing story at Toyota that we want to get into, but if you could start with what you're doing now, and then we'll take it back to your journey into our world.
Thanks for I work for Toyota. I don't know if the brand needs much introduction.
No,
it's
I think everybody's going to know.
Iconic brand that I am very grateful to be here working for. But specifically, I work for Toyota Financial Services. Toyota Financial Services helps customers and dealers get our customers into financing options and lease options and vehicle protections products and stuff like that. So specifically, my role for Toyota Financial Services is my title is a Unified Communications and Collaboration Manager, and I work with a team of what we call productivity engineers who are focused on our end user productivity, primarily around the unified communications and collaboration. So the voice, the meetings, the AV spaces, the collaboration tools, and Microsoft is right in the middle of everything we do. So that's obviously Microsoft Teams and Teams Rooms, which I think is our focus today. But my team is also responsible for a lot of SharePoint and OneDrive, other diagramming tools, and just random productivity tools.
I love the title productivity engineer. That's such a great focus of a title, because it's like actually it's what we're doing for the organization, like the tooling that makes them productive, as opposed to just
absolutely.
You can get kind of obsessed in these kind of roles about, well, I own this particular product, but actually what's the point of the product? The point is to make the business productive.
Exactly. Products, platforms, tools can change, but ultimately what we're here to do is provide productivity. So whether, we catch things all the time. So it's not just Microsoft Teams. It's really just whatever the business needs. And so, yeah.
And how big is Toyota Financial Services? I know you have a lot of rooms, for example, which we'll get into. It's a big org in its own right, isn't it?
It's So financial services, we service just under 9,000 users. And then we have, for our room systems, we are currently, uh, where are we at now? We're at about we're in a growth stage right now, so we're bringing a lot of rooms on right now. So we're at about 300 room systems here at our HQ. We've got another 125 split between a couple of regional offices, and we're adding another 150 over the next few months because we're returning to office. We've grown since we've been fully off in the office. So we are the gas pedal is to the floor, and we are expanding campuses, and yeah, so there's a lot going on in that space.
Amazing. I'm desperate to ask a whole bunch of questions there, but let's take it back. Like how did you end up in this product strategy engineer and very tied into the whole Microsoft space?
Yeah, so a little about my background is I've really came up through AV. I started in AV. The first AV systems I put in, I was working for my local county. The courtrooms wanted to enhance their AV. They had the CRT TVs on carts, DVD players with cables dangling everywhere, and they wanted to enhance that. So integrated system, projection systems, mic systems. And then they took it a step further. They wanted to start doing arraignments between the courtrooms in the jail, so they wouldn't
Mhm.
have to transport inmates. So we started putting in VTC systems, and my experience there led me into to 7-Eleven. I spent a good portion of my career, 15 years at 7-Eleven, the convenience store retailer. Uh, I was stationed at their corporate headquarters here in North Texas, is in the Dallas Metroplex, and through the 15 years there, led the AV environment. We did multiple campus moves. We did 2 full campus moves within that time frame. So got my hands in knowledge and really understanding what it means to do requirements gathering and design and working with the integrators all the way through the implementation, the construction phase, commissioning systems, and then the support. We kind of, our small team, we were very lean. We just did it all. We were responsible for delivery and the operations of it at that time.
It's such a great way to learn that when you're like responsible, and also it teaches you some
Yeah,
stuff about, oh, if I'm deploying it and I'm managing it, and then actually it better all be right.
got it. You got it. You got it. Yes, yes. Do ourselves a favor on the front end,
Yeah.
if you have to support it. So, and through that, also just 7-Eleven was very video conference forward. They were very mature when I got there, but through that time, it was updating systems, and we were Polycom, so it's MGC platform to the Real Presence platform, going through generations of codecs, and then comes Microsoft into the space. And this is where Link came in, and we were doing interop between the Polycom platform and Microsoft Link. So you could see where this was going. We were now
Mm.
getting video to end users at their laptop, which is great because now we were beyond just the dedicated systems in the offices. We were now able to get these field consultants out in the field, in the back of the stores, with the store employees. So that was a huge moment for us. But it got me kind of realizing, like, this is where it's going. I'm now having conversations with you know exchange admins and more network conversations, and you can kind of start to see the evolution. And that's about the time we're talking about finding use. So you have to kind of expand the knowledge there. And now, gosh, here we are. We're here. I've been at Toyota Financial for 6 years, and when I got here, we were still in the Skype for Business Polycom. Toyota was also a Polycom shop.
Yep.
But we had a global standard that was still Polycom H323 calls, a Toyota Global. And then here in North America, we were Skype for Business. So had room systems that were doing both. We had these very complex, highly integrated AV systems where the user would have to come in and choose. For one thing, scheduling the room was a challenge. Then knowing what buttons to push, what pages to get to, and then once you're in that interface, how to control the call. So
Yeah, you've
so I
already
was
lost most of the users at this point, like having to
yeah,
press buttons on
yes,
remotes and dial in.
absolutely. So with Toyota here over the last 6 years, we've been on the journey from the Polycom to Skype for Business. So now we're fully Microsoft Teams. So back in 2020, Toyota made the global standard to go fully Microsoft Teams for meetings. So that means we could really focus on one platform, and that just changed the game for room systems for us. We we spent a little time, kind of struggling through. Gosh, this campus opened in 2017, right? And we made that decision in 2020. Well, we had all this gear that has not gone through its life cycle yet. We had a lot of expensive cameras and mic systems and just AV switches that we couldn't just completely rip out because we were going teams. So we were retrofitting these things,
Yeah.
right? And um, everything wasn't team certified. We were putting MTRs in. We had all these converters for the camera, for the mic system, and that was a challenge. It was a real challenge from an operations standpoint. Luckily, most of our users were hybrid, remote at that time, so they didn't feel all those pains. But we've been on a refresh journey, a complete refresh, starting about a year and a half ago, and that's kind of we've just finished that journey here at our headquarters campus. We just refreshed over about 300 rooms.
And talk us
Um,
through that process, because that's a big project that you're now even accelerating further, and a big commitment. Like you were a poly shop with the traditional hardware. Did you look at the different OEMs? Did you test stuff? Where did you land on your kind of vendor selection?
we did. We first started trying to get some user feedback. Where are your pain points? We started with a number of surveys, contacting different business units, going through our past incident reports and trying to understand where the pain points are, what the users wanted.
Hmm.
And one of the things that we really found was that users were contacting our AV support team to just start a call, right? I can you guys help me? I just want to make sure everything runs smooth, right? That's a problem,
Yeah.
right? Like we had to address that first. So when we really try to define what experience means for the users. Well, we found that to be first and foremost. We need a reliable, something that feels inherently native to use. And I kind of compared it back to the old conference star phone. There was a moment in time there where we're deploying room systems to get rid of these old star phones that people would call them. And we'd deploy the system. We'd get a call. Hey, can we get one of those star phones? I just want to make sure it works. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so
There,
we
there-
we got
there's
to
a
get the AV rooms to that,
there's a
right?
parallel there I've never thought about. That's such a great comparison, because the Star phone was a dial pad, and I know how my phone works, and therefore I know how the Star phone works. And it's the same concept as we bring that to Teams, isn't it? I know how my Teams client works. I know what that button does, and it's a similar button in the MTR.
Yes, yes. And through our user surveys, we would get some feedback of we wish we had that or we wish we could do that. It was actually hard to get that feedback from the users, like direct feedback of here's what we want. So
Mm.
we really just had to go back as the productivity engineers and say hey, we're the experts here. Let's go see what's in the industry. Let's go figure it out. Let's understand where the pain points are, and then we solve for the solution. Um, so uh, so that's what we did. So uh, we looked at different OEMs. We stood up some proof of concept rooms up in our area. We invited people to come through and test them. Again, trying to get some more of that feedback. And
Yeah.
another thing about the user feedback, excuse me. Another thing about the user feedback, we were finding is some of that was subjective, right? When you talk about how maybe a sound bar sounds, or how the microphone pickup sounds, or how the camera tracking is.
Yeah.
A lot of these OEMs were pretty similar in these spaces. You might hear a different, you know, bar that's in a higher frequency versus a bassier sound, or a faster camera tracking, or they do the individual framing differently, and you'd get different responses. One person likes it this way, one person likes it this way. What that told me is everything
Camera
was
tracking is really emotive, isn't it? Because some people like a fast cut, some people don't want any emotion, some people like the Brady Bunch Hollywood
yeah.
Square, some people prefer a view. So that definitely is very interesting. I don't think you could find a complete agreement on what the favored layout is there.
And that's what we found. So that goes back to our point. It's like, okay, we're the experts. Let's figure this out. Like it's close enough, it's subjective enough. Let's go figure this out for our users. So that kind of leveled the playing field in some of the OEMs. But what we really liked from Logitech at the time of this decision point, and still, is the flexibility that they have in their devices. They were able to meet the most room sizes for our needs,
Hmm.
and standardizing was key for us. a unified platform and observability over all these components was key for us. So the Logitech solutions that were coming out of the box, the rally bars, the mic pods, if we could extend from those, the tap, all these being able to essentially come out of a box, plug and play, and view these from Logitech Sync, we felt gave us the best ability to have a reliable system, a system that we know is reliable.
Yeah.
Right. So complete observability over these. So we could the flexibility to go into more rooms, standardize, observe these rooms from a single system. That was huge. Another thing in Logitech's favor for us was we were very much in this. This was the time when we were very much in this decision point of Windows versus Android. We really like the idea of the Windows or the Android-based systems, so that kind of get back to that appliance type feel, because it's kind of what, in the AV world that we were used to.
Yeah. Not having to skill the AV team up on Windows and patching Windows and how that world works. And
exactly.
And we've come a long way with the Pro Portal and stuff now, but you're going back quite a way. So this was early days of both
yeah, this decision point was about 1.5 to 2 years ago. Was the decision point, right? But one thing that we felt safeguarded with that decision was that the Logitech systems support both the Android, and they have the USB. So if we made a mistake down the road, or we needed a room that we just had to have a Windows base because of whatever feature is supported in Windows and not Android yet, we could simply just add in the MTR Windows device and convert the room without having to overhaul it. So all those things led
how
us
did
to
that story?
Logitech.
How did that story turn out? So you went with Logitech, obviously. I guess you've been happy with that journey by the sounds of it.
Yes, we've been very happy with Logitech.
Did you end up flipping any to Windows MTR mode, or have you gone Android?
We have not. We're primarily Android.
Because Android's closed the gap in the last 2 years in all the core features. I think there's always some differences, but it feels a lot closer than it used to be.
They have. We really haven't missed out on anything. I know they were a little slower to like speaker recognition and stuff like that, but we just weren't there yet, and we knew we weren't going to be there when it was out for Windows and not Android. So we were okay at that. We knew it was coming.
And how many different shapes of system did you have from Logi? Did you manage to standardize to one type, or have you bought different things from the portfolio?
Different things from the portfolio. So we did our refresh in really 2 phases. We went for the medium, what we call the medium to large type spaces, and this is generally 8 seats up to maybe 16 or 18 seats. And we did the rally bars for those with mic pod extensions and in the tap. For our small room systems, these are our anywhere from 4 to 6 seats. These are huddle spaces, small conference rooms, maybe some small executive spaces. We were Surface Hub version 1 in those rooms, and that was a large part of our portfolio previously. So we had that whiteboard experience in those rooms. So phase 2 was to address those rooms, and we weren't quite sure during phase 1 what direction we wanted to take. The Surface Hub had kind of changed its form factor a little bit and didn't quite fit the spaces that we had them previously in the version 2 and version 3. And so we knew we had to go a different direction. So, Logitech, being great partners, and NDA, we understood that they had a all-in-one system coming.
So you were in the inner circle. Right. You knew that was coming early. Cool.
So we put the brakes on the small room systems and kind of wait to see what Logitech was coming with there, and which is the Rally Board 65. Yeah. So that was our solution for these small spaces, and we just completed deploying those this last July.
Awesome. So the Rally Board obviously has that awesome stand where you can do the flip to bring it desk level, or to have it the kind of stand around the board scenario. But I hear from Logi a lot of people are buying them just as a standard and wall mounting them, and almost touch is secondary, but they're just a great device, an all-in-one, full stop. Where did you land on that? Have you got them on wheels you wheel around, or are you mostly mounting them?
We're wall mounting them, yes, and we're using them primarily as a conference system, because that's what we found. Even we had a lot of experience in the whiteboard solution being a Surface Hub, so we kind of understood. The Surface Hubs weren't quite used like they thought they would at the beginning. We thought it'd be this highly collaborative, everybody's whiteboarding and everybody's doing ideation. Well, it's a small, very small percentage of people
Yeah.
who are doing that. The people who do it love it. It's a great feature. But it's just not for it. It's just not for everybody, at least in our business. It's not. So we we moved to the solution need to be primarily a do meetings well.
Hmm.
Get a nice large screen in there, great camera, great microphone. That was the primary function. With the whiteboarding is a nice to have, right? So we wall mounted them in these rooms. We put the camera on top, and they've been a great device for us. Yeah.
And is the, I mean, the pitch on the all-in-ones is it saves in terms of deployment is easier, support is easier, like life cycle is easier. Has that been true in deployment of them?
It is. The deployment was incredibly easy. We deployed 125 units in about 6 weeks, and
Amazing. Wow.
we could have gone faster. We just didn't want to block out that many rooms from the business. I mean, it was easy to knock out 3 in a day, and that's decomming the service hub and mounting the rally board and connecting the tap,
Amazing.
and then
And
obviously
what did you
powered
do for
up.
that project? Are you doing that in-house? Do you have a partner you work with on that? What's that look like?
We have an integration partner. Yeah, we work with AVI-SPL on integration for a lot of our campus projects.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So it's kind
Yeah.
of you guys work with them, so like they could scale up that resource to go that fast with rollout.
Absolutely, absolutely. But hey, they're a great partner of ours. We can't do these projects successfully without them. We also have a great set of engineers here at Toyota, and I have worked with one of the best, Josh, on my team. He's incredible. But between him and our great partners at AVI-SPL, it takes a lot of careful planning, preparation. And then when it's go time for these implementations, it just went so smooth. I'm super proud of both AVI-SPL and our team for pulling that off.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
interesting to me to see where the line is dropping on these projects in terms of deploy and ongoing support, because a lot of it's getting streamlined. So finding the right partner that can move at the pace the business wants to and fit where fit the line between the customer and the partner, and where like how you work tightly together. Because sometimes you can see projects where the partner wants they have a way of doing things, and like, well, we do it this way, but that doesn't work for organizations as big as yours. You want to have a true partnership.
absolutely, absolutely. And you need somebody on your side advocating for this is how the deployments should go, and this
Yeah.
is what we know of our building. These are the challenges you're going to run into ahead of time, rather than the integrator getting out here and finding those during the project. Whereas maybe we can't route cables through this wall, or we don't have the space in the floor, or we don't have the right floor box, or those type of things. So doing all that pre-work ahead of time, understanding the environment, not just the technologies going in, but it's understanding the environment, right? The facilities
Mm.
aspects of it all. So
And you've got plans. You mentioned in the intro you've got plans to continue to ramp to more rooms now.
we are in scale mode now. So we've gone through, redefining our standards. So those are set, and now we're doing these expansion projects. We've got a building, we're expanding into another building across the street, and then our remote campuses are adding floors and square footage to their buildings. So yeah, it's a scale time, and here in the next let's see, February, March is when all these projects kind of come and implement at the same time. So it's going to be a little crazy. But
Awesome. And what does the operational model look like? And I guess that's changed over time because of the technology and the platform shifts. What's that look like?
yeah, we have an on-site managed services team that we also use AVI-SPL for. So it's nice to have the same partner as both your integrator and your
Well,
your
back
operations.
to that.
So
You're on the hook day too as well, so it better go well.
exactly. But look, that was something that was important to us when we designed these systems and when we looked for a solution, is the operations aspect of it.
Mm.
We wanted to put in systems that didn't only meet the things that we wanted for the user experience, but we wanted our operations team to be successful in supporting these, right? So we don't want to have to bring in elevated skill sets to troubleshoot or bring up a room, whether it's program, because it has to be reprogrammed for whatever reason. You swap out a
Hmm.
device and it has to be reprogrammed, right? We wanted these things to be hot swap. You take a room down for an hour, you change the bar, you get it connected to the network, sign it in, and you're good, right? So that's helped a lot. Although we haven't seen many failures yet, so that's a good thing. But so yeah, that was key. Was deploying systems that were um, uh, that could set our operations team up for success.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess the combination of Pro Portal and Logi tooling for management.
Oh gosh, we've come such a long way now with both Pro Portal and the Sync Portal. We're using both, and that's fine. We're
Yeah,
okay with that. Pro Portal it's still coming along in the Android space, and Logitech does a great job in the Sync area. And they were very mature in that when we chose them.
it's
One
interesting
of the
how
reasons we
much of an
chose.
important part of the conversation that is. We obviously have lots of customers on the podcast, and it's something that I think once you've gone to any kind of scale, you really understand. Like a lot of our industry spends a lot of time talking about the cameras and the quality of the screen and the touch points, and then that's all important. But actually, when you get to bars, sometimes you can argue, like they're in the ballpark. But when you get into scale deployment management tooling, that's where people separate. Support as well is a big one. Being able to get stuff, report that. There's so many non-hardware decisions that I think are important to strategy.
For sure. I think reliability is the number one um, for end user
Yeah,
experience, right? Reliability is key to experience, um, and having observability, that's how you know if it's reliable or not. If you don't have the observability, you don't know if it's reliable. You don't know where the failure points are. So
yeah.
so those two come hand in hand. So that was huge for us, and we're at a state now where we have every device in the room is being monitored. And if it fails for a certain amount of minutes, it then sends a notification, which we then have a flow that sends that to not only an inbox, but to a Teams channel where all the technicians are notified of that failure. And then we have the dashboards that they check throughout the day. In case there's anything they've missed, we can track where everything is at from a firmware standpoint.
Yeah.
We can globally manage firmware updates through both. Pro Portal's coming a long way in that. Sync does a great job in that as well. So it's a really great. We're in a good spot right now.
So you guys are also a Teams phone shop as well. Talk us through that journey.
Yes, we are. So obviously we have a big customer care center that uses another call center, Nice in Contact, but our team supports our end users and their voice services, and we do that through Microsoft Teams. We have been direct routing. We just actually recently migrated over to Operator Connect, and that was a decision based on we had some legacy SBC systems that were in a data center, and one's lifecycle management. It was time to do something with those. And then two, the data center, we're actually moving out of that data center. So it was a great opportunity to just take a step back and say, hey, is this still the right way to do this,
Yeah,
given our
I'm
need?
seeing a lot of that towards OC for the fact that managing SBCs is a specialist and high impact skill set and requirement as well. And actually, can I push that responsibility out to my operator now?
Right, right. And so we looked at our solution. We realized that we didn't need complex routing systems for what we were doing, and what was offered in Operator Connect and the carriers will suffice for our needs.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly easy decision once we kind of got reintegrated with what's going on in the Operator Connect world. We said, yes, this makes sense. Um, we have initiatives here to be more cloud native anyways, so it just kind of aligned with our organizational strategies.
Did
So
you
yeah,
did you port numbers and change operators during that process? Did you go through that as well?
we we did. We actually changed carriers and did a series of cuts to port numbers.
And how was
And
that? Because that's always a scary journey when numbers are going between operators.
Well, for me, it went great because I wasn't on the calls, but my lead engineer, voice engineer, Kanal, he managed all that. He's an expert. He
Amazing.
scheduled all the cutovers and the portings and the
Again, this is
feedback
where
that I got from
having
him.
talent in house as well as having good partners is so
Absolutely.
important, because they've got the enterprise's needs at heart, obviously, and they have the history and they have the kind of responsibilities of the business.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it went smooth. We didn't have any issues. We completed all the migrations without with a single user knowing, and
Amazing.
that's what we wanted, right? That we didn't have any services down.
Yeah, I hear a lot more of that now. I've obviously worked in the carrier space as well a bit, so I have a bit of an inside track on that. And it feels like its net got better, but it's still a very nervous time because these are business phone numbers and they're going between. There's kind of like a
It
swap over
was
period where you're like, has everybody got the ball? Like, is the ball over here now?
it was a little nerve wracking, but after the first we kind of did a POC and that went really well. Then we
Yeah,
did a small group and that went really well. So it's like, okay, let's go.
amazing.
And it did. It went very smooth. So now, what we're looking on for next on that is a way to automate the phone number provisioning. Maybe it's based on role or department or whatever. So maybe they're birthrighted a phone
Yeah,
number, and so that's something that we're looking into next on that.
awesome. JT, thanks so much for sharing the journey story and so much insight into what you guys have done. I think it's great to share that with the community. Any kind of closing thoughts for other customers and enterprises around what you guys have learned or what you guys have done?
I guess I would say we so challenge your own assumptions. We had to go through this. We had to kind of look in the mirror. Both myself and our lead AV engineer are long time in the industry and went through highly integrated systems and those. So we had to kind of look and say, all right, what we knew may not be what should be, right? The landscape is changing. Let's understand that. Let's really see where the industry's going and
That's a tough
and
personal
and make
journey, isn't it?
decisions.
Because you have a
It,
bias of like, I've done this before, I know how it works, that's what I'm comfortable with. So that's
for
not
sure,
trivial.
for sure. And we've built up great relationships in our network with different vendors and manufacturers that we were working with before, and it was like, well, that's not our journey. That's not part of our next journey, and even just because we were doing it doesn't mean that's what we need to be doing now. And
Hmm.
and so challenge your own assumptions. It's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, JT, thanks for joining the pod. We'll see you around the community and really appreciate your time.
Great. This was a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on, Tom.